Now moving on to look at the partnership between CEDR and Sanofi. So why did you decide to work with CEDR and what have you seen the benefits to be so far?
So the concept of ombuds came up in a meeting I was in with one of our business units, and a couple of the people in there had previously worked for another company that had a similar kind of, I'll call it ombuds office within that company. And they said, oh, have we thought about what ombuds is? And my understanding of ombuds at that point was always it was an external service that you could go to if you chose to, not an internal one. So we said, okay, this could be an interesting concept because we have a lot of issues that people have in the workplace on a day-to-day basis that are disputes or minor conflicts between groups, could be clashes of personality, management styles, employee management, whatever it might be. How do we resolve those in a sensible, effective way that people feel the company helps me resolve issues without it always getting escalated? And what we'd seen and what I was aware of is that quite often a lot of those issues that start off that could be managed and resolved quite quickly before they get more serious are left and they kind of fester. And then what could have been managed early becomes a bigger problem. Then it gets reported into, say, the helpline. Then it needs an investigation, and the time and effort and energy that takes quite often way outweighs what the original issue was if it had been raised and identified it soon enough. So that was the thing, right? How do we operate this? How can we deploy the right people? So we looked at some other companies that had got similar schemes in and tried to understand more. What does an ombuds office do? How would an ombuds office internally operate? How do they manage the concepts of independence, informal, confidentiality, those kind of concepts that are real pillars about what an ombuds office should be about. So we did some research first to try and work out how does this fit in this company and how big does it need to be? Because we thought you could put 2 people in it, but all of a sudden you might have a couple of thousand people raising inquiries and those 2 people are going to be swamped.
You need to build the capacity.
Exactly. So that's where we came to CEDR. We did a bit of research. Funny enough, your colleague Steve had just literally by chance, around about the time I was looking at what the ombuds could be, had contacted me on LinkedIn and said, I see you've got quite an interesting job title, going back to what you said.
Yeah.
Can you help me understand what it is? So we connected, had a conversation. I started to explain what our kind of idea was. And it just started to build momentum from then. Then obviously once I'd met Steve and the team here, I was like, yeah, these are the right people. You've already established mediation, remediation, the skills that you offer as a company were exactly where we wanted to kind of bring that knowledge and expertise in.